Our children, Drunvalo, since 1972, you said that the first Indigo kids came to the world, and then they are the psychic children in Mexico, in China, in Russia. There are other kids that are different in these last years that they are appearing. What can you tell us about the children?
Well, I do believe that these new children began in 1972, but scientifically speaking, China can only bring it back to 1974. But the first child in China was discovered in 74 who could see with his ears. He could see with his ears just as well as you could see with your eyes. And then more of these children began to emerge. They could see with the tip of their nose, their mouth, the tip of their tongue, their armpits, their hair, their hands, their feet, different parts of their body. And I mean, you could absolutely seal their eyes off, but they could see just as well without it. That was just the beginning, and that was really the tip of an iceberg, because now scientifically the world has been able to experiment with these kids, and really they can do anything they can think of, even if it breaks the laws of known physics. And so all it is life, this new connection to the new Christ consciousness grid is beginning to emerge, and it's emerging through the children first. It's always been this way. It's first the children, then the females, then the men. Mm-hmm. We're always the slowest ones to get it. And the children always are first. What emerged were two uniquely different type of children. One was the Indigo kids that have been given that name. Those children are found wherever there are a lot of computers. The higher the density of computers per capita, the more you see the Indigo kids. And they have a relationship with computers that is hard to understand by even through the scientific mind, because my daughter, one of them was one, and she could look at a computer and run programs through it and would always know whatever the computer was going to do before it did it, and it was always right. She was never wrong. And that's how their relationship with computers is quite extraordinary. If you really truly understand what a computer is, which most people don't, they think it's a physical thing, it's just an object and it just calculates, etc. But what computers are crystals, and they are just an arrangement of crystals. And without that arrangement of crystals, there would be no computers. It is the heart of a computer is a crystal, and specifically quartz crystals, though they can use other kinds of crystals depending on how they're using the electrical energy. And crystals, or computers, are, on one way of looking at it, alive, scientifically alive. Because you see, in the periodic table of elements, the carbon is considered the basis of organic chemistry, and for a long time, carbon was thought that was the only that you had to have carbon inside of your body in order for there to be considered an organic living thing. And but in the 50s, they discovered that silicon, which is one octave above and directly below carbon, also exhibits the principles of life equally, not more or less, but equally with carbon. And so from a pure scientific point of view, silicon is a living atom. And they speculated that there may be, in other worlds, the silicon life forms that didn't have any carbon in them. But of now, as of this day, have discovered pure silicon life forms on Earth that have no carbon in them and are alive, and they move, they live, they breathe. Well, they don't breathe, but they live and they reproduce and everything else. And they found sponges, for example, down deep inside the oceans, and they're beautiful. They're living forms, but there's no carbon, they're only silicon. When you understand that, you can see that a computer is another way that humans or conscious spirit can function through. And so the children who are carbon have found a way to link between the carbon and the silicon, which we call computers. And it is a new way that humanity is able to express itself. And so these kids, which we call Indigo kids, are quite amazing in all kinds of ways. Their intelligence is usually in the genius level, at least in very specific areas relative to one of these Indigo kids. In other words, what it really is, whatever they really like, they excel within. What they don't like, they don't care about. So you see a lot of these kids who get either A++ in a certain subject, and then another subject they get an F because they don't care. And now they have divided themselves into other specific kinds of levels, like the crystal kids, etc., and everything else. But there is another kind of child that's emerging on Earth, which we are calling the super psychic kids. And these kids are functioning very much in the way that Jesus did. Jesus was doing all kinds of psychic phenomena, walking on water, bringing people back from the dead, turning water into wine, on and on and on and on, and all these kinds of things. And that is psychic phenomena. But it's psychic phenomena that is done in a very specific kind of way that can only be done from the heart and not from the mind, because it doesn't have that polarization. And there are children now emerging all over the world that can do anything whatsoever that they think. As outrageous as this sounds, in China, and this has been recorded in the scientific manual journals, like Nature Journal and everything in the earth, but they've got 3 kids that can actually walk right through solid walls. And they've scientifically recorded this. They don't know how they're doing it, but they know that it's real. And so the higher levels of consciousness are already beginning to emerge on Earth, but it is taking place almost exclusively through children. And so at this point, from what we have been able to determine from all of this, is that almost all of the children that are on Earth right now are either one of these categories, and they really are not human. And they are really not human even scientifically, because they are changing their DNA. Their DNA has been altered, and they are changing parts of their bodies inside. Their liver is different than most human beings, and we don't know specifically all the other changes that are occurring within them. We have determined, science has determined, that the number of codons in the human DNA is different than what it is in human beings. And so there is a very rapid evolution taking place on a DNA level within humanity at this moment. And that's science saying this, not just me or just making up a bunch of stuff.
So if you say all the kids that are being born in this moment are different, so that's
I can't say 100%.
Okay, but let's say...
But I would say probably at least 99%.
They will grow and they will become adults, so we will be a completely different race or people here.
The human race is evolving, and it is changing at this moment. The old way of being and the old way of living life and interpreting what life is about to go away and die. And that is the part of us that creates war and conflict with each other, that cares only about ourself and not about others. The higher life forms can't do that because they know that there is only one spirit that moves through all life everywhere. There's really one. It's an illusion to think that there are that it's different and there's different people and things. It's not really the truth. There's only one. And all the higher life forms know this, and so there's really nothing to do but besides have fun and enjoy life, but to help each other, to love each other. And so that part of us that doesn't care about other people is dying. The part of us that really does care about other people and loves life, that is being born. And so, and this cycle, the precession of equinox, is the moment when the death of the old way will take place. At least this is what most of the indigenous prophecies are. So the governments that are, especially the governments that are led like with Bush and a lot of other people who are only caring about their own government and their own things and money and oil and all this stuff, that part in humanity is in the midst of a death process. But the part that is in people everywhere, out in the jungles and the cities and everywhere, the people that are ordinary people, there is something that is about to come out of them that is, it's ancient, it's always been there, it has been there since the beginning of the creation. And that's what's about to come out. And so the way human beings interact with each other is about to completely change. And it is this new part of consciousness that is the part that will not only change the world and change the environment and change how human beings relate to each other, but it is from that point that new possibilities that mankind has long forgotten. It is these new possibilities that are about to become real, and where people actually walk around on Earth, and it will be every single last person on Earth will be involved in this. There will not be anyone who is not. So this is a beautiful thing that is about to occur. I know there are people that are afraid of these kind of changes and the way it looks, but really the safest thing you can do is just be like a little kid and have fun and just be excited about what's coming, because it is, in the most truest way, God is about to walk on Earth.